Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Q&A show on Inside the Birds platform. I'm your main man, Jason Avant. I'm here with my main man, Quintin Mikell. Say what up to the people, Q.
What's up, everybody? It's another installment. Excited to get going, man. As always, can't wait to get into it. Ball with my homie. So let's get it.
Let's get it going. There is some housekeeping that we have to do. Again, thank you to everyone that is tuning in to the Q&A show. We appreciate the support, making this show a success. To all the fans out there, thank you so very much. To Jeff, to Adam, to Josh, Hunter, everyone that's responsible at Inside the Birds for having us. And we are in the fourth episode of this 5-week series. This is the fourth show. We have one more show after this, and then we're going to take a break until the season starts. We're coming back hard and strong through the season. That sounded a little bit weird, but we're going to come back toward the season. All right. Fourth and fifth show. This is the fourth, and then we have one more next week. Just letting you guys know the schedule going forward. Let's just unravel a few things that has transpired over the off season. One of the big things that has happened over the off season is Alec Hallaby becoming an assistant general manager along with John Ferreira. I know those guys too, really well. And Alec's role before was mainly analytics and helping Howie out. He was basically assistant general manager before. He didn't have the title, but player acquisitions, draft, and those things. He's always been Howie's assistant. What do you think about this change? What do you think about this going forward for the Birds?
I think for the most part, I've seen and talked and worked not with Alec, but I've been in the building and kind of in meetings with him, and from what I know, he's very good with the numbers. He's very good, very intellectual, smart player. Smart person, and from everything I know and heard of him, seems like a great guy. To me personally, I think that this addition means that a lot of the decisions, personnel decisions, contract decisions, are going to move more towards the analytical side of it, the number side of it. I have there's a place in football and the NFL for analytics, but I also think that there's times where it's always, it's good to have a football guy in there. So if they can also not necessarily 100% rely on just the numbers, but also rely on the numbers and add with that, the evaluation from football guys and guys that have played the game, I think it can work out well. So that's kind of my whole take on it. I think he'll succeed. It's just how far will he go with the numbers, following the numbers.
Yeah. So he's been with the team now for 15 years or so, right around 15 years. He came in 2007, Harvard grad. So the guy is super smart. And his inspiration was like Moneyball. And that's the way that he figured out that he can get into the NFL, because it was a lifelong dream of his to get into the NFL. And, using stats and using data in order to shift the odds in your favor was something that he kind of wanted to bring to the NFL and to the Eagles organization specifically. Now, I believe that there's a great role for analytics. And when we're talking analytics, we're not talking about in-game analytics where we're talking about, percentages of, 2-point conversions and things of that nature. We're talking about with player acquisitions and also players themselves. One of the best people when it came to using analytics basically was Bill Belichick of our generation, because he always got rid of a player 2 or 3 years before it was time in order to get max value from their player. Looking at the trajectory of his career, looking at, the position and how often these guys break down, looking at age, looking at different things of that nature to see, okay, if this player is declining or not. And if he was declining, I would rather be a year early than a year too late, so I can get a second round pick or third round pick rather than a seventh round pick, right? So those are the things that we're talking about when it comes to players, and also when it comes to drafting players, looking at size, intangibles, hand size, these things. How do these things correlate? Right? Taking all of this data and taking all this information and trying to fit it into football. And yes, like you said, it's better to have a guy that understands the game to see if this guy can move outside of the analytics. Let me give you an example. Like there's certain position groups and certain skill sets that will always be good for longer. Like for quarterbacks that stay in the pocket and that learn the game a certain way, they're going to have more longevity than the guy that's moving around. So you got to keep that in consideration, because Tom Brady has proved that to be true playing football at 45 years old, right? So those are things that you have to take in consideration. Different, and every position has that type of data, and so you have to marry it with football to understand when you can go against the data and when you can't. And I think that's what they're trying to do with Alec.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working. I mean, I feel like, it's a shame because there's so much turnover in the front office this year, but it seemed like they finally got a good balance between, the analytic, and I can never say that.
Yeah.
Analytics
analytics side,
and the football, and kind of meshing those two together. And it seems like they had a really good system because the last couple of drafts have been really good. So, hopefully moving forward, it will continue that way.
Yeah, hopefully they can. It was just weird to have a lot of turnover this year, but I guess they got the guys they want. I'm always confused though, Q, and we got to move on, but I'm always confused with the co or with the two, right? So you got John and you got Alec. It's like when you do that, it's usually like, I owe this guy a favor, but I like this guy. It's usually like, oh, he earned it, but we want to give it to this guy, so let's just make both of them to keep him happy. So I don't necessarily ever know about that code thing for anything. Like not co-quarterbacks, not co-kickers, not co-head coaches, not co-play callers. Like you have to figure out a way to. So I don't know how that's going to work, but I think it's good that they make a decision, but one person is going to do more than the other. It's always like that. Yeah. So I don't know.
Be interesting dynamic, man.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep moving forward. Right. So Jeffery Lurie's involvement with the team in football operations, he's always suggested and always made it clear that he isn't a part of football operations, like as much as people think he is. There's a lot of intel, a lot of reporters, a lot of people that have knowledge that says that he definitely is making a lot of football decisions. What do you think about an owner making football quality decisions and or overriding scouts, overriding the front office and other things, because he's the owner? Like, I own Launch Trampoline Park, and I can have all of the marketers that come in and say, hey, you should use this form of social media. You should use this form of strategy. And I can be like, no, I want my cousin to do it if I want to. Right. So you have that veto power. What do you think of that?
Yeah, man. As I said, you hit the nail on the head. It's his team, it's his money, and he can make his decisions if he chooses. As far as I knew, he's always been involved in the game more so than other owners that I've heard, in terms of like he actually studies the game. I've been told that. Don't know for sure, but I've talked to coaches in the past, and they've said, listen, they've talked to him, and he's broken down film with them. He's asked questions, and this was kind of earlier in my career, so maybe it was just a time of him kind of, maybe he was learning certain things and certain techniques, and maybe he was trying to learn why certain decisions were made. And so, as far as I know, he's always been, pretty involved in the game in that aspect. I don't think he's the type of owner that's going to, like Al Davis, call down from the box and tell him to throw the ball deep. I don't think he's going to do that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, but I do think he's very involved. And, honestly, it's his team. It's his right. It's his decision. And he's had some really good teams over the years. And so I think for the most part, he's done a good job. I think there was a little bit of a lull there, especially around the Chip era days and after that. And I think he kind of figured out maybe he should take a little bit of a step back. But I think he was always involved with, a lot of stuff that's going on on the actual football field.
Yeah, I agree with that, Q. I agree with that. He's around the game a bunch. He's at practice a bunch. Um, he definitely watches film. I've talked to him about watching film multiple times about different players, and him asking me guys that he likes and stuff like about guys that he is considering. So I know that he watches the game. I know that he will do anything to win. The one thing that I say about an owner, this is one thing I can't respect Jeffery Lurie for, is that he doesn't waste or he doesn't hold back with giving the players what they need in order to succeed. There's a lot of organizations that will not put the money into the players and into the facilities, into the technology, into the overall experience as a football team in order to have the winning edge. And you think that to be this NFL, everybody's on the same playing field. No, some owners are cheaper than others. Some owners want to pocket more money. Some owners are not interested in upgrading. They're not interested in all the technology. They're not interested in analytics. They're not he will do anything in order to win games. And that's the thing that you have to respect. So anything that he's doing is coming from a place of trying to win. So I don't doubt that at all. Now, is there some decisions that are pinned on him, like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and other things that we have to like kind of, wrap our minds around to see if it's true or not? Hey, we don't know about that, but we do know this, is that the Eagles were left for dead when Carson Wentz and all of the veterans begin to retire. The Alshon's gone, the DeSean's gone, the Jason Peters is gone, the Darren Sproles is gone, the Brent Selleck is gone. Yes, you should have a terrible season after all of that loss. The team made the playoffs, and that has to do with ownership, front office, and everybody else. And yes, there's been a lot of discord in the media and how Howie don't like people and all of this stuff. But you got to get this team credit for this reason, is that usually teams take years to overcome. When they get off that Super Bowl slide, they really, really slide. The Eagles have remained competitive throughout this time with a few exceptions, a year or two. Carson's back, all that stuff. But most of the time, they're turning the roster around really quickly. May take a year, may take a year or two, but it's never been 4 and 5 years like some teams.
Yeah.
So I got to give him credit for that.
Absolutely.
But he's definitely in a lot of football discussions and situations. And I tell you this, when you are an owner and you start to watch film, you begin to think that you know too. And you hear it and you begin to see some of your opinions are the same as other guys that have been around it. So yeah, do I think that he feels himself at times? Yes, everyone would. So along with that, he's been talking about his predecessor for years. And his predecessor is his son, Julian Lurie. Has come on. He's full-time with the team now. It hasn't been officially announced, but everyone knows that he's full-time. What do you think about that? Like, so this is the life that everybody wants to have for their kids. I know people will have negative things to say, but the truth is that this is what we all want. We all want to be able to establish something for our kids, whether it's, a trust, whether it's some money that's left over in a estate plan. We always want to do this. This just happened to be, $1 billion plus investment given into the hands of your son. That's what everyone wants to do. And now Julian Lurie is here. I'll tell you this about him before, and you can put it in, is that I've always loved him as a kid. Always. He's always been around the game. He's always asked me questions about how and why I do certain things. He's always been intuitive. He's always been super smart. He's taken his time to go to the NFL so he can get tutelage on how to run a team. He's spent, his last years at the NFL office learning about that. And now he's coming back to the team. So I don't know if anything is negative about that. I think Jeffery Lurie is getting old. He's 70 years old this year and wants, to eventually hand it over to his son.
Yeah. So it's funny, you mentioned about how everyone wants to leave something for their son. And I think to me, the biggest thing, and as a father, the biggest thing that I feel like I can leave for my children is an example.
Mm-hmm.
Living life the right way, doing things, working hard, doing things the right way. And my feel is added to everything that you mentioned about how Julian has been around the game and worked and understood the game. He's had a father that he's been able to watch prepare his teams, been able to see how he takes care of his players, like you said, puts the money into the program, puts the money into the analytics, and puts the money into the stadiums, and so from that aspect, that added with him actually putting in the footwork, I think this team will be just fine. The one
Yeah.
thing, I think the one thing that to me the biggest problem sometimes that a child or a son daughter can get into trouble with is straying too far from the path or trying to create too much of a new path for yourself.
Mm.
Especially when the path is laid out right in front of you. You can take a couple branches here and there, but as long as you follow the basic path and make the right decisions and you work hard and you make the right decisions and you bring the right people in, surround yourself with the right people, not yes men, but people that are going to tell you the truth. I think
Yeah.
he'll be just fine, and I think this team will be just fine.
Be just fine. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I'm hoping him success, and I want to see that role develop, and I want to see what he's going to bring to the table, and hopefully we hear more about the role that he has and all the things that is going to happen under him. You never know. I know that he wants to win. He's young. He's aggressive, and he'll mess around and be the youngest owner in the NFL.
That's crazy, man.
He may be a 30-year-old owner, 30, that would be crazy, right?
Can you imagine, man? Well, first of all, I mean that's a big, huge
Like,
responsibility in the
yeah, I
in the
know.
city. Like, so it ain't gonna be a cakewalk. I mean, he's gonna have to put in the time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great feeling to be able to do that at 30 years
Yeah,
old,
that would be crazy. 30 something. He's gonna be 30 something year old owner.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? All right. So with that being said, like as far as analytics, like how does it impact the players from this standpoint? Not in-game analytics, like when a team is counting a player's like lifespan, when a team is determining, if he fits into their offense based on these measurables or scheme and like how they view him. Because in the scouting report, there's all these people don't realize what they are. And I don't know if you've seen this, and I'm sure you have because you've been on the other side as well, is that and for the fans that don't know, there's a chart that's given to all the scouts all the way around the league. And you have a grade as a player. And it's like an arrow that's going up or going down or going sideways about where you're going, and also the level of player you are. If you're an O, if you're a C, or whatever it is, whatever the number is given for every player. And you can see all your measurables. You can see your height, your weight, your hand width, and your hand size, and arm length, and your Wonderlic score, and all that stuff from the. You can see all of those things, and all of these things play a role to some extent based on the offense, based on the division, based on your age, based on. Do you think it's like do you think the players nowadays know these things and know that it can be stacked up against them or for them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
I think we knew it when we were playing. I mean, we didn't get, at least me personally, I didn't get like the actual stats like they have today. But I mean, nowadays there's so much information out there. There's so many ways to get it. There's so many things that you can get into and learn about yourself and about other people.
Yeah.
So I think that they definitely have more access to the information now. As a player, this is why a lot of fans, and I get frustrated as a former player, and I know a lot of people. It's all over the board when it comes to this. But when a player is up for a contract and they're able to get the most amount of money as they can, this is
Yeah.
exactly why they need to do that as much as you can, because every single year you're declining. Every single year they're taking note of that decline. Every single year they're trying to replace you. So, we all know it coming into the league. We all know it while you're still in the league and, on your way out, that they're taking note of everything that you're doing. And it's frustrating. It's hard. And I think as a player, especially if you're, a superstar player and you start that decline, you still feel like you're great. You still feel like you can go out there
No,
and
man,
dominate,
yeah.
but the numbers might say different. Even if it's like, even if you had, you average 16 sacks, well, the next year, maybe you average 15 sacks, and maybe it's because you're getting double teamed every week, but it still is, you got 15 sacks. So the numbers right there. So
that's how it goes as far as players getting contracts. Sometimes when you're a young player, you think that you are better than the veterans. No, but you're just on the right side of the analytics.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that you don't know as a young player. As a young player, you're just thinking, oh, I'm better than that dude. No, you're really not. It's just that the analytics are on your side because you're so young and you have a longer life expectancy. And maybe you have a certain potential. And the veteran is like, okay, he's declining. He's a better player, but in 1 year, he won't be a better player. Right. And they're looking at that and they're evaluating you. So that's how analytics are played. So I think that players do know it, but they don't know to what extent it's being used for or against the decisions that are being made. Like I'm sure the Derek Barnett signing had something to do with analytics as well. Like when you start to just break it down, a lot of these things has to do with what's going on around the league, players, abilities and all those things is being evaluated. All right, let's head into the second part of this show, Q. We have a new read today because we have a new sponsor for the show. New Edition Consulting is a boutique newsletter consultancy that partners with entrepreneurs, early stage startups, media entities looking to launch, maintain, and grow their newsletter offerings. An intentional, consistent newsletter is the spine that holds your brand's community building efforts together, allowing you to connect deeper with your audience than you can on your social media channels. New Edition provides one-on-one, end-to-end, 360-degree newsletter support to all of their busy and talented clients. If you have been looking to launch and/or transform your newsletter offerings simply haven't had the time, tools, or support, head to neweditionconsulting.com and book a free exploratory call with their team. Again, head to neweditionconsulting.com and book a free exploratory call with their team.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool it now.
That's a New Edition Consulting. Bobby Brown is singing somewhere. They got to get him on. They got to get him on a commercial. All right, Q, you can start this one off. It's weird.
Oh yeah. So topic 2, man. All right, you got some love on I Am Athlete. Brandon Marshall, former receiver for the Bears, the Broncos,
Miami Dolphins,
phenomenal player. He said on the show, I Am Athlete, it's a podcast. He said that Jason Avant was a slot receiver that he studied when he moved inside. He said Jason kind of discussed, how it feels to be noticed by, a guy like Brandon Marshall, as a Pro Bowler, DeSean, Pac-Man, they were all talking about you. So let me know a little bit something about that, man. How you feel about that?
Some people, like, I began to get a wind of it yesterday. People were sick because the show aired a few times, a little while ago, but there was a few people that was just sending it to me. I was like, oh, let me listen into it. And it kind of felt good because it's like very rarely do you get an opportunity for a guy that was a role player for the upper echelon athletes in our league, like Pro Bowlers and potential Hall of Famers, to acknowledge that, because a lot of times we live in a selfish culture at times, right? So we live in a time, and not from the player's perspective, just from the media perspective and from fans, right? Because you have a guy on your fantasy team and you want that guy to succeed. So you don't give a damn about John Jernigan at tight end that just scored a touchdown. You wanted, Travis Kelce to score a touchdown. And so you don't really pay attention to guys that, are not getting the stats. And I never was a stats guy. But I took pride in getting open. I took pride in making a play. And only the players can see that, because the players, the other receivers, are looking at the same DBs because they got to go against them. So as a player who can get open. And the media won't know that. The fans won't know that. But if you're a player and you're looking at it, it's like, oh, this dude lives open and he catches the ball all the time. And so that's what it kind of, it felt good, because you get a guy like DeSean and LaShawn and Pac-Man and Brandon saying the same thing in unison. It felt pretty good.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah,
I like it. I didn't get a chance. I gotta really get into watching that podcast. I saw some stuff going on in there, and I saw a few clips.
Yeah, we're gonna get to it.
Yeah. All right. So here's another part of that, right? DeSean, and I didn't know much about this, but DeSean said that you had a second stick, which I've never heard that, and there must be some kind of receiver lingo or something. So can you explain what that means?
So like the thing is, like, I made tough catches, but I made a lot of tough catches, but most of my catches that I made weren't tough catches because I was open by so much. And playing a game of receiver or playing a game of football at receiver is a lot like basketball in that you got to make people move out of their spot. I talk to you guys about this all the time. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that, but if anybody watches Devontae Adams play or they watch Keenan Allen play, I did that from the slot, and I did it at a very, very high level of making guys think I was doing something that I wasn't. So people that watched me play the game and as a receiver and understood what I was doing, it's like, dude, this dude runs a 4.6 40 and he can get open on anybody. And so they kind of like, okay, let me break it down, see what he was doing. And a lot of times, like a second stick or whatever it is, I just took my time at the top. And so it looks different. Okay. I didn't run the lines. And I would always set up a move because I know that the first stick is what the defender is anticipating. Am I lying, Q?
Yeah.
The first move, the first move. Like, so I would be running a straight, run up the field and turn left. But I would make him think I was doing something else because I was thick once. They're like, oh, the route is already declared. Boom, boom. Oh, there it is. He's going by himself. So I would just use the defensive wisdom against them, right? So I would talk to the defensive back coach. Hey, coach, once I do this move, once you do that move, the DB already thinks that you declare the route. So if you do something else after that, you're gonna be wide open. And so I would go and gather that information and use it against them. And that's what you do as a player. You sit there and talk. Like I would sit there and talk to you, sit there and talk to Asante, sit there and talk to as many people as I could to see what they were thinking. Hey, if I'm in cover 4 and I line up in this split, what do you think automatically? Oh, I'm thinking that you're going to run a curl because of this, this, and this. Okay, how can I make this curl look different then? Because I am running it. So how can I make it look different? Just little stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So what that would mean is, okay, I know if I line up at this +2 split in this formation, they think it's a curl. How about I line up 2 yards inside of that and they think it's a out route now, and now I have the advantage.
That's great. And see, and this is the key to this whole thing is you were allowed the ability to do that, the freedom to do that. Because like we learned as defenders, okay, that's how we learn. Okay, if he's 1 yard outside the hash, he's running this. If he's 2 yards inside the hash, it's most likely going to be this. So by you being able to manipulate that's dope right there.
It takes coaching that trusts you, right? So when I first got to the league, they didn't trust that I knew that much, right? So, but I had to convince them, and Coach Reed eventually gave me that autonomy. As long as I can explain myself, they would sit there and say, "Hey, Jason, this route says a +6. Why are you at a +7, or why are you at a +5?" It's like, Coach, we ran this route 2 times already. I'm trying to make it look different. Oh, I understand that. Coach Reed was good with that. I went to Carolina. They weren't good with that. So it's all about the coaching and them being able to trust and know who you are as a player. But yes, if you can get to that point where you know how to know what they're thinking as a defense, and then you can explain it to your coach. Hey, coach, this is why I'm doing this, because I want to catch this ball. I can work to the two outside in my route. I can just angle it out where he can't notice it. I can just start running it a little bit of angle and straighten it back up. And now I'm still at the same spot in the same window. I just started from a different spot.
Okay.
And what that means is math too, right? So if I had a +2 split, I reduce it down -2, but I still got to be at the top 12 yards outside the numbers +2. That means that I run a 10-yard route and get to that same spot, because I got to take away that, right? So you got to know all of these things. You can't just keep running, and that's the stuff you got to break down in your brain, in your mind. All of this stuff happens really, really fast, and the guys that figure it out stay around. But if these are the small things that keep you around,
I like it.
yeah,
Cheating, man. No,
cheating. You listen. You got to figure out a way to cheat.
See,
but it felt good though for them to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
It did. It felt good. That kind of made my day, because it was like, man, finally somebody recognized. Because in my mind, I think I'm the greatest slot receiver to ever play. Right?
You were, man. Shoot.
But that's just in my mind. I recognize that guys, people have stats, right? So you can't inoculate stats. You can't always, fight against that. But if you turn on the tape and you say, all right, let me look at this guy's tape, let me look at that guy's tape, you're going to see me open more than everybody else. And that's not, I don't always get the ball. And I'm okay with that, because I realize that DeSean deserved the ball more than me. And that right there it's tough to say from a competitor, but I know that the more times he touched the ball, the higher chances we have to win. And that's why me and his relationship was good. And me and everybody else around me, like, I know LaShawn needs to touch the ball. I know that Jeremy Macklin needs to touch the ball more than me, because there's just more opportunities. If they touch the ball 10 times, 2 of those are going to be a touchdown. I touch the ball 10 times, you're going to get 100 yards. You're going to be 10. So I realized that they had more value when it came to scoring touchdowns. But it was every player, every team needs a player like you and I on the team, because in critical moments, you're going to need the savviness of a Q back there in that position. You're going to need the savviness of me in that position. It's not a slight to be a role player. You just got to recognize that, hey, God didn't bless me with DeSean Jackson speed. He didn't bless me with Brandon Marshall size. He didn't bless me with that, Shady's quickness. So you deal with you make the best of what you got.
That's it.
All right.
I like it.
So here you go. Here's a part for you though. As a safety, who are some guys, unsung guys, that you really admire? Like they did little things, or undrafted free agents, or what do you think?
That's a good question. Who are some guys? So some of the safeties. So obviously I always watch the best. I watched Ed Reed. Obviously
and I know everybody love Brian, because Brian's my favorite, one of my favorite teammates of all time. Ed Reed may be one of my favorite players in the NFL history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they played in the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. But go ahead.
I mean, yeah, like if I want people, like if people ever get a chance to just watch some of Ed Reed's plays, I mean, obviously, playing next to Doc was amazing, but Ed Reed used to be in the middle of the field, and on the snap, he wouldn't, like, normally you're supposed to be backpedaling in the middle of the field. He would just stand there, and he would, like, some plays he would be ducking down. And then eventually he would make his way in right in front of a slant, pick a slant off from the middle of the field and run it back for a touchdown. Phenomenal player.
Yeah.
But so yeah, obviously, like, players like Ed Reed, Doc, and Palomalu were tremendous players. But some of the players I would say that are unsung players that I really enjoy watching, and I learned some things from, and kind of stole some of their stuff. Bob Sanders.
Oh man.
Jim Leonard, safety for
Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. This guy, he didn't have like a great
Played
beginning
with
to his
him.
career.
Played again in college. He went to
Who?
Wisconsin.
Jim Leonard?
Yep,
Oh yeah,
Wisconsin. Go ahead.
he was a great player, man. Mike Mitchell, I played with him in Carolina. Great player. Two of my favorite though, like the two that, and I wouldn't say that there's so much unsung. I just feel like they probably, I mean, they played at a time, through injuries and stuff, things that kind of shorten their careers. But Mike Brown out of Chicago Bears,
Yep,
and Nick Collins from the Packers, like those two
Mm.
players were just phenomenal safeties. Mike Brown, I mean, you could make the argument that they just played a cover two. And the other thing is you can kind of see where I'm going with the size comparison with these guys. Like I'm probably
Yeah.
the same height as a lot of these guys, but Mike wasn't the biggest guy, but he would give you everything on everything he had in his body. He's going to smack into you. Fast player, smart player, break on the ball, could cover if he needed to in certain situations. And then so I admired.
Who killed a lot of Mike Brown's hype is freaking Dawkins, which is a good thing for us.
Yeah.
Is that they were at the same position, and Philly had a better team. Dawkins was a better player, but Mike Brown was a very, very, very good player, and he never got the Pro Bowls or the recognitions because Dawkins was so great. And that's like the greatest time. That to me, it's the greatest time in NFL history for safeties.
Yeah.
In that mid to like I say 2000 to probably 2015, 16 is like the best safeties in NFL history played during that time.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
And so you're going to lose out on a lot of good guys that you never know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When you go through it, you're talking about Palomalu, you're talking about Sean Taylor, Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins, Rodney Harrison. You're talking Lawyer Malloy. You're talking Bob Sanders.
Preach.
Like it goes on. Like all of these guys are going to be Hall of Fame like caliber players. Like a lot of these, like it was just it was bananas. Every team has somebody that will literally knock your head off.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that was a great time, and
yeah,
those are the
that's
guys
good.
that I kind of looked at, man.
You gave some good names, like some Nick Collins never got the love. Mike Brown got some, but not as much because of Dawkins, Leonard, Bob Sanders. People don't even remember who he is. That kind of makes me mad. Like I'm talking about fans.
Wow.
Like when I mention his name, people don't even know who I'm like, you don't know who Bob Sanders is? I was like, wow, like, dude, that's the best
crazy.
Football player I played against in college. For sure. Hands down. I knew my Michigan helmet, the wing part of it, the yellow stripes on it were going to be black when I got done playing it. It's because me and him was going to hit each other at least 20 times that game because I was responsible for him. And I still couldn't tackle him. I still couldn't block him half the time. Like it was tough. Like it was tough getting him because he wanted all the smoke.
Yeah.
All of it. Every single, I don't care how big it was. Like, that's the thing you can't stop. A dude that want to make the play every time, you can't stop. I used to be so mad. I'm like, Coach, I can't get him half the time. Once you let me motion in the backfield and just be the fullback for the game, you might as well, because the dude is going to be right there near the line of scrimmage. So trying to get him from the slot receiver or the X, trying to crack him, it was impossible. I'm like, Coach, just put me in motion. Take the tight end off extend the tight end out, put me in motion, put me down in the backfield. That's the only chance we got to block this dude.
Hey, the best part about the crack box is like it works one time, maybe. It might work the first play. Well, the first time you do it, it might work. After that, every time you come down the crack, you're looking right at you. Like,
looking right at you. Yeah, you're gonna angle your body again on opposites. I used to hate y'all. They give you that back, so if you hit them in the back, the referee call the call. Y'all like James Harden of in the NFL.
Hey, Coaches tell us to do that.
Hey, just turn your back to him. I hear Rodney. I hear Rodney in the back one because he was in the box, and our coach told us, look, if he in the box, they don't care where you hit him. Like if he like in there with all the linemen, so I had him angled right. I was like I was going to hit him right here. So like coming right, I was going to hit him right there. And at the last minute, he saw me and did like that. I just like forget it. No. He got up and choked me. Man, you gonna mess it? You gonna F blow my knee out? Jay, stop playing with all that. Because I know he's my mentor. So he was so mad. He was like, dude, you trying to take me out the game, trying to take me out the league. I was like, dude, nobody told you to turn your back to me at the last second.
Rodney Harrison, man, that dude was crazy.
Dude, I love that dude. He was a nut. Yeah. He didn't care about anybody. And these are stories that you love as a fan, like guys like him. He would go up right to your face. He's like, listen, you come over the middle, I'm gonna knock your head off and shake your hand. And I mean that on everything. And walk back out. Like that's how the game used to be. Like there used to be safeties like that. Like Ryan Clark don't get love. Ryan Clark don't get the love either. Ryan told Bryce Brown, we played him up at the Steelers. Dude, Bryce came through the whole high. I'm talking about like a torpedo. Bam! Boy, you run that high, boy, you ain't gonna lead this game today. I was like, oh snap. Bryce right to the sideline. I don't know if he played any more of that game. He told the guy, he's like, listen, man, the worst thing for me that can happen is I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with going to sleep? We playing against dudes with that brain. Like, who thinks of something like that? I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna be fine. Are you okay with going to sleep?
That's it. You gotta play. You have to have that mentality because if you don't, especially at safety size, if you're a little dude and you don't have that mentality, you're gonna get rolled on.
All right, let's move on. All right. So DeSean says some other stuff in that interview, and it's been rocking Philly the last 3-4 days. All right, we ain't going too far into this because all right. So DeSean told stories about Donovan that didn't paint Donovan in the best light. Give your thoughts on DeSean's story. Basically, DeSean said that Donovan hated on him to Michael Vick and to others that he didn't deserve to be the first Pro Bowler in NFL history to be voted Pro Bowl at two positions. He was voted Pro Bowl as a punt returner and a receiver. And apparently, according to DeSean, that he didn't want that, or he said something negative about that. And they also talked about him charging $25 to get in his all-white party. So I've never been to his all-white party, but I do know that one's probably true. Yes. I don't know about the first one, but the $25 is true. And hey, Donovan, I love you, baby. I love you, but
he ain't spending no money.
So I can't attest. I mean, I can't back up DeSean's claim about the Pro Bowl thing. You know what I mean? I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know because I don't know. But I do know that $25 was paid through Venmo, Cash App, Apple Pay, or cash.
Hey, he'll even take a check too. It got to be a cashier's check.
Oh, he said when LaShawn said that, dude, I bust out laughing though.
Oh.
I love. All right, five. I love you. I'm your boy. I ain't do it. It wasn't me. We just discussing it.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man. So all right. Yeah, let's leave that alone. Let's leave that alone.
Yeah, I don't want to go into that stuff because
the one thing I will say. Go ahead, Q. Go ahead. What you about to say?
Yeah, because I wasn't there. I mean, I don't want to speculate on
Yeah.
he said, she said stuff.
The one thing that you hate about it is that you don't want to like shine light in certain things. I get why it was done and said because he still feels something about that. You wish you guys would have it out man to man before it gets into that. But again, people do things for for certain reasons, because maybe that's just not the way people were raised around DeSean, that they do certain things like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he held that and he wanted to destroy the Eagles and all those things, So I feel him. I wish it was handled a different way. As I know both of those men and I know both of them have good intentions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So from that perspective, and then also Michael Vick is collateral damage. So freaking Donovan is on that. Donovan is on. Yo, Mike, that was confidential. That was between you and me. You know what I mean? So like when you start to unravel everything, Mike is in here like, dude, man, I'm on freaking Fox and I'm trying to get my thing together for the season. I know he's somewhere playing golf. He out on the 18th hole yesterday or whenever it came out. Like, DeSean, I'm gonna kill you, man. So but again, that's his truth. And DeSean has never been. The thing I love about him is that DeSean's gonna be DeSean. Yeah. DeSean is like Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can say whatever you want to say about DeSean. He's not going to front for anybody. He's going to be himself.
100.
And that's the way he was feeling. You got to respect it. Hopefully, him and Donovan had that heart to heart. We need to get a Donovan, T.O., and DeSean on national television.
Are you gonna have security there?
We just need a kumbaya moment. It may turn into a chance to make a couple $100 million though with Floyd Mayweather promoting that fight.
I'll pay to see that. I want front row seats just to be there.
T.O. like, let's do it. That's messed up. All right. All right, let's get to some questions. Before we get to those questions, it's brought to you by the Q&A show. It's brought to you by Launch Trampoline Park in Deptford, New Jersey. You got to come on out to Launch Trampoline Park. I mean, we got it happening at Launch Trampoline Park. We got laser tag. We got Ninja Warrior. We have rock climbing. We have dodgeball. We're putting in a new slam ball court. We have arcades. We have pizza, birthday parties, anything you want. Come on down to Launch Trampoline Park. However, if you come on down, just know that I can hit your kid in the face with a dodgeball. I'm just playing. I won't do it that hard. I'll just hit him softly. But he will be out and he will get talked to bad because I am the champion of everything at Launch Trampoline Park. I'm king at the park. So I got to win everything and nobody cheats for me. I just do it in such an excellent fashion that I let everybody know about it. I'm Debo and I let everybody know about it. So please come on down to Launch Trampoline Park so I can beat all your kids and your family and your grandpa and your grandmother in any sport that you guys require or want to do at that time. So brought to you by Launch Trampoline Park.
Man, you attacking the grandmas and grandpas too?
Man, I will beat a grandmother bad in a battle beam or dodgeball. She get in there with me. I'm gonna hit her right in the dentures.
Oh man, you crazy.
I always told my grandmother, you get out in this field if you want to. I'm gonna knock your old self out.
Hey man, she signed the waiver.
Yeah.
All
Oh
right,
man,
let's get into these questions, man.
you got it. You got it.
All right, so this first question. This is from DeSean H. Hopefully, I said your name correctly. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Um, it says, looking at our offensive skill position players outside of Boston Scott, we don't have any backs who can really pass block, and Goddard seems to struggle to get into his routes after chipping. Is this an issue? How will this impact our potential play calls? Do you see us responding to nickel blitzes with? I mean, do you see us? How do you see us responding to nickel blitzes like the Giants threw at us?
Um, I think so. So remember, players get better as their careers go on. Blocking is a chore for a lot. Dude, when you play running back, you don't sign up to block. They just give you the ball in Little League because you're the best athlete. You're the best kid at not it. You were never it when you played running back. Right? So that was it. When you played not it in grade school, that was the kid that got selected for running back, right?
Yep.
So it takes time, right? And in the NFL, it takes a lot more time because everything is moving in front of you. These guys want to make blocks. They are trying to make blocks. It's just that they're being confused. And as the years go on, you become better at it. So I believe Miles Sanders would be better at blocking. Boston Scott is a good blocker right now. I think Keenan Gainwell is going to get better at blocking just because you add another year to that. And remember, you always got Jordan Howard coming back. Jordan Howard's probably going to be on this football team. I don't know why he's never on the team to start, but some way he's going to be on the team. And you're always going to pick up a bruiser because we have a bunch of small guys that have proven that they're not always going to make it the entire season. So you need a bruiser in there, and I assume Jordan Howard's going to be there. But this can affect you when it comes to a running back should be able to handle a nickel.
Yeah.
It's just like a nickel blitz is not an exotic blitz. It's a very standard blitz. You can see it from a mile away because the safety is always cheating to that side trying to cover up for him. Am I lying, Q?
Nope.
You can see a nickel blitz from a mile away. It's just that we have young players. So once you figure out that and the tight end and the running back or the tackle, and it wouldn't be the tight end, but the tackle and the running back communicate, that's what it is. It's just tackle, running back, tackle, receiver, tackle, and whoever else communication to that nickel. That's it. It's just the communication. Like me and JP had it down pat. Jason would say, out, Avant, out. I'm like, all right, there I go. I'm out to the nickel. Or I'm out to the next guy that was coming. You know, stay, out, that type of thing. He would go out. Whatever it is, you had that communication, you'd be able to pick it up. That was for me and him. So I know they had communication with them in the running back. So that's an easy blitz to pick up. It's just that we had younger guys that I don't see that being a problem. What about you? You have anything on that?
No, you got it on money right there. I mean, it's not Leighton. The only thing I'm gonna add to it, it is confusing for running backs at times, and it does come with experience. But also, it's not an easy block, especially when you got linebackers coming. I mean, a lot of times you're talking about, you step into the hole. Let's say Mike linebacker's blitzing, and the protection for some reason has the back stepping in to block a linebacker. So you got a 230, 40-pound blitzer coming full speed from about 4 yards away, and then the hole opens this wide. It's difficult for backs such as I'm blanking.
Gainwell and Sanders.
Yeah, and Sanders to step into that hole. And I think the one thing that'll probably help them, and they'll get better with this experience, is to take away that space. If the running backs coming through if the linebackers coming through that hole, you gotta meet him in the hole and not let him get a full head of steam. So I think this is some technique stuff. I think they'll be just fine, like you said. They'll
fine. And there's a lot. Like remember when I was talking to you about receiver play and how you split to win, basically. Like, so if I knew that they had a beat on my split, let me change it up in order to win. Running backs can do that too, right? When it's a pass play and you know that, okay, based on this front, based on this scheme, I'm anticipating this blitz happening off of this. It's either this one or that one. It's never 3-4 options off of a front, right? It's never like with the blitz scheme, it's never 3-4 options most of the time. It's going to be 1 or 2 things that this team does, right? And if and so if that's the case, let me split to win. Maybe I tell the quarterback, hey, if I see this, look, man, I'm going to go to the opposite side because I'm anticipating the mic coming to this hole. And if therefore I don't have to cross your face, which meshes up your time, I'm already on your side. Those are little things that you can do. And or, all right, let me get rid of the play action fake. No, I don't need to drag out this fake. I gotta get backside. Forget that play action fake. I gotta get this ball off. Those are things that needs to happen. That happens with veterans because you become a football player then, and you're not just doing what's on the paper. You're saying, okay, I'm thinking the game through. It's the same way in your field. You give an employee or you give a task to someone, they'll do the task. But after they've been there a while, you'll begin to see that they begin to think for themselves because they know what you want. Right. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right, I'm asking you this question. Wilmon K. Wilmon K. Do you guys think Nick Sirianni will be better now at controlling the players and holding them accountable now that he has somewhat given Shane Steichen play calling duties? Love the show, guys, and I listen every week. We appreciate you, Wilmon. We appreciate you,
yes,
buddy.
Sir. Thank you.
Yep. So let me read it again. Do you guys think Nick Sirianni will be better now at controlling the players and holding them accountable now that he's somewhat given Shane Steichen play calling duties?
Well, that question's kind of, I'm not sure what he's asking on that. Like substitutions and stuff like that. Or are you talking?
Yeah, just as far as coaching and maintaining, holding people accountable. The Jalen Ragers, the getting on players, like being a tougher, like disciplinarian type of coach, like being on them, control, like because what he's saying is his time should be free. He should have more time to be able to hone in on the disciplinary aspect of it.
I mean, the way I see it, every coach has a specialty. Every coach has something that they really specialize. I mean, even John Harbaugh was a special teams coach, so his specialties in special teams. So he's involved with that. He's involved with some of those decisions as well as the overall macro, controlling of the team. So I think Nick Sirianni is going to get better because number one, it's his second year as a head coach. I mean, he was a rookie head coach last year.
Yeah.
He made the playoffs in his first year. So there's that to be said as well. He's able to bring more players in that he's, been able to draft and choose to be on the team. He's got his system sort of kind of in place. He's got his coaching staff back for another year. There's some continuity there. So I think those things are what's more important to improving, the overall team and accountability and controlling that. I think he's still gonna I think he's still gonna be able to have veto powers. If there's a play call he doesn't like, he's gonna overrule it. There's gonna be times where he might have disagreements with the offensive coordinator, Coach Steichen, and I'm sure that they're gonna have to work through those dynamics. But I think overall the biggest issue is going to be the fact that he's got more experience and he's going to be able to, hopefully progress past what he did last year in his first year.
Yeah, I hope that's the case, right? Because you got Shane, you got Nick, you got Aaron Moorhead, you got Stoutland. I wish Deuce was on this team. For me, being in the locker room and me being a coach, Deuce had the respect of every player, and he can chew out every player in the entire – he was the disciplinarian.
Yeah.
The running backs were the little army. They were disciplined like that. You didn't expect them to do stupid stuff. You didn't see Miles Sanders putting the – you know what I mean? It's like little things that Deuce. You need an ass kicker, a ball buster. You need one.
You got to.
You got to have one. I need to know who that is on offensive staff. I know Stoutland gets after, but Stoutland's more focused on his position group. Just from being in the building, and I want to just take this time out to give you guys a little insight. because Shane is going to be in he's coming from the Chargers, had some success with a lot of guys, Phillip Rivers, a bunch of guys, Herbert. You got I want you guys to recognize like how the play comes in, because it's not just Shane. Just because they say he's giving away the play calling, that's not how it works. Once you got that itch, that offensive coordinator, you ain't going nowhere. How many times have you seen Marty go back and forth with him and Andy with play calling?
Oh
my God. Like Marty and Andy, comedy. They're comedy. The reason our plays would get in late is because they would be over there having a whole, like debate.
Oh man.
Philosophy section over there. Session over there about a play, and we get the play in at 15 seconds. By the time he called in the huddle, we had 9 seconds.
and us on the defensive side of the ball, like it's gonna be a pass play. I mean, we know if they're arguing, it ain't gonna be a run play, so we might as well get ready.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So here it is. When a play comes in, they're discussing whoever it is. It may be Shane, it may be Nick. They're discussing, and the way they do that, they have this sheet. This sheet has scenarios on it. It has all the third down calls, right? And they're into blocks, right? So it's 3rd and 1 and 2. It's 3rd 3 to 5. It's 3rd 5 to 7, and it's 3rd and 8 plus. Or 11 plus, whichever way you dictate. That could be 9, 10, could be 11 plus. All of these calls. Now, a 2nd down calls, 2nd and this and this. So they're looking at their plays. They've already got it planned out beforehand. They said, okay, let me look at these plays. And then you base it on the situation of the game as well. Okay, we've called this play one time. Oh, it's time to do the one that's a counter off of that play, because it's the same scenario. We did this on, 2nd down last quarter when it was about 2nd, 7, 8. Now we're going to counter them with this because they will be expecting this. This is how the play called and all the thoughts that are coming in, right? So they finally decide on the play. The quarterback gets it. They give it to us. And when they give it to us, they never give us one play. They always give you 2 plays because you need an adjustment to whatever the defense is doing. So it's a lot of information that's I already know as a player, like I've already eliminated in my mind. I'm like, oh, it's 3rd and 3 to 4. I got these 3 plays. So I already know that we're going to be running one of these 3 to 5 plays in this situation. Yeah. While I'm waiting on them to bring it in, I'm just thinking about like, hey, which one is it? Oh, it's on this hash, so it's going to be this. Like that's stuff that's coming in my mind. And then I had other players. Hey, Jay, what got to get everybody lined up.
And on the defensive side of the ball, just real quick, it kind of works almost the opposite way. So for us, everything's based off of personnel. So a lot of times you see a defense, we're looking to the sidelines, but we're also looking to our opponent's sideline. We usually have one player that's assigned to kind of seeing what receivers. It's 3 receivers coming in, 2 running backs, and we're kind of paying attention to that. We're trying to get the personnel, and then the change to the microphones, midway through our careers. It helped for us to not have to look at the sideline and get signals. So first thing is we're getting the personnel, then we're getting the signal, and then we're going from there. And a lot of our defensive calls are kind of they're based on formation. So we also know if it's 3rd and short, 4th and short, we know it's going to be some type of single high man or cover 3. If it's 1st and 2nd down, we know it's probably going to be more of like a base cover 2, cover 4 type of call, combo coverage. And then, we base everything off formation. So we do have some things that are adjusted based on what the offense gives us. And then there's some plays and some blitzes where we just line up and let it rock. So very similar to what you guys do, but without all the arguing.
Well, arguing, yeah. Because you guys had one guy that was doing it. We always had a bunch of different guys doing it. And then you let Marty get it. Marty gonna throw the ball 1,000,000 yards. I don't care if it's 2nd and 1. I don't care if it's backed up. If we backed up from the 5, Marty gonna throw that thing 50 yards. Coach Reed is like, yo, Marty, like let's just get the first down. No, they're good for it.
Listen, as a defensive player, I used to be so mad so mad at Marty, man. I'm like, I'll never forget that. I don't want to go into it too much. The Ravens game, you got the Ravens, Ed Reed back there. I forget who the front, Sarah. I mean, their
Yeah, they
defense
had they
was
loaded.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
We're backed up in our own territory, and he drops back. I think it was Kevin Cobb at quarterback. He drops back, play action on third and
On the one.
on the 1 yard line.
Reggie Brown trying to run flanker.
Oh,
Trying to run. I remember the play call.
as soon as I saw the drop back,
Trying
I
to
just
run
grabbed my
flanker
helmet.
post. He's trying to run flanker post on the goal lines out of a.
I was so mad, bro.
That play never worked. I don't know. We practiced that play. I was like, this is gonna be a pick. That play never worked. We never scored a touchdown off of it. Not a 2-point conversion. It was just in when Jerry Rice was in, and it was hot in late 80s. And we just kept it.
Oh my god.
We needed to. I love them, but we needed to throw out our entire red zone playbook back then. I used to be like, man, these play. I used to watch like other teams that were scoring like high volume touchdowns, and they was running base offense, and they were doing things that were designed to beat. You know, because when we were in, like, it changes. The red zone changes, right? The red zones change all the time. When we were playing, the base red zone defense was cover 4. It was some version of cover 4. That's when we were in. Yeah. Then it started going into, you know, some 2 and some 3, like different teams are playing different things now. But back in those days, it was like cover 4. So I'm like, dude, cover 4 is the easiest defense to scheme up. Why do we have such a hard time down here? But it was hard.
I think red zone, it's tough though, because
you got less space.
So condensed, everybody's sitting on routes.
Yeah. But, and if you're not willing to run the ball,
yeah, well, it's
even tougher. Yeah. All right, Q. A lot of people are now ranking us pretty high due to off-season. Oh, this is from Tony W. A lot of people are now ranking us pretty high due to off-season moves. Where do you rank our coaching staff among those other 31 teams? I feel outside injuries, the coaching is vital this year with the team. If one of the other top coaches had the roster the Eagles had, would they be Super Bowl contenders?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, it's hard.
I'm gonna let you go down that.
Yeah, this is a hard one, because I mean we're looking at 1 year of work, so there's not a bunch of experience there to really make a good decision, a ranking decision, like, one way or the other. I think right now, coaching staff offensively, I would give this staff definitely, top 20, possibly top 15, depending on how Jalen develops. It could go anywhere up to, in the top 10. Defensively, based on what I saw last year, I'm going to say, this coaching staff on the defensive side is probably, 20, between, 20 and 15, somewhere like down the line. And that can improve as well. I mean, listen, on paper, this front 7, the safety position, we've all talked about that, but the front 7 can be phenomenal. Cornerbacks can be phenomenal. What are you going to do with that, right? What is the defensive coordinator going to do with that? If he sits back and he just plays a basic defense and lets team pick him apart again, he's going to be he should be out of here. You know what I mean? Like, you don't spend this much money on this defense and draft all these players, just have them just to sit back and get picked apart. So that's my thing. We need better. The coaching staff is good on offense. Defense, we need more productivity from the defensive coaching staff.
Couldn't agree more. The main thing, though, is the quarterback.
Yes, very true.
A lot of this can be solved with quarterback play. I think our defense is going in the right direction. The question mark, like for me, is Jonathan Gannon is a question mark. I'll let y'all know the way I have that, last year. I don't have anything personal against him or anything. I just think that the way that he called games last year is not indicative and not traditional Philadelphia Eagles football. It just isn't. Like, there are certain brands of football. We're a get it after it type of town. we're not a you punch us and we just let you punch. No, we coming at you. We're not waiting for you to hit us. We hit people. This is Philadelphia. And I think that understanding that and understanding what the city is about, like that should be a staple of our defense. It should be, is that we throw punches. We don't sit back and take stuff like that. And I would rather lose a game going after somebody than sitting back.
Yeah,
I just would. If I'm leaving, I want to make sure that all the bullets has been shot, all the punches have been thrown. Yeah. If you beat me, I didn't give you the business, and you just like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You gonna know you was in a fight. Like that's how it gotta be, that mentality.
So hopefully he got the, because all I've been hearing is he got to get his players in there. You know, he don't have his players. All right. Ladies and gentlemen.
No excuses, Gannon. All right, let's go.
This is the Q&A show. We want to say thank you guys for tuning in again. Again, thank you to Adam and to Jeff and Hunter, Josh, everyone Inside the Birds, and thank you for sending in questions. So happy we're able to get to those questions today. And that was a pretty fun show. I'm gonna get some calls about that, I'm sure, about a couple portions that we'll get some calls to from some people, we're sure.
we love getting calls.
We love you, though. We love you. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. We'll be back for our last show of the summertime next week. Make sure that you tune in to us, and make sure that you're following us. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Inside the Birds platform. Also, email your questions to insidethebirds at gmail.com, insidethebirds@gmail.com. Thank you, guys, and have a great night. Go Birds!
Mm-hmm.
Last words, Q's.
I'm good. You said enough, man. We good.
Damn,
that was a perfect ending.
Bow.